Larry Millete lost his damn mind. It's that simple and that complicated. Be sure to stick around. This is a different take on the Millete case. Of course, there is nothing that excuses what Larry has done. There is a very good reason why he's sitting in a prison cell today. We take a deep dive into the psychology behind the bizarre behavior and the lengths he was willing to go to get what he wanted. This is something worth paying attention to if you are married or plan to get married, or if anyone you care about may find themselves in that situation. At the very least, we can try and understand why things got to that point in Larry and May's life so that more people can recognize some of the signs. Hopefully, you can prevent others from going through what May, her children, and the rest of her family and friends have had to endure. Coming up, you'll discover the psychological events that led to this tragedy. But first, it's important that we briefly touch on Larry's past and how he and May met and built their life together. You'll understand why soon enough. We dug up an incident involving Larry Millete as a teenager that may provide some insight of what was to come. Keep watching and find out what we discovered about Larry's run-in with the law before he and May even met. You'll also be hearing a cleared-up version of the actual audio from outside the Millete home the very night May disappeared. We won't be going into detail about the aftermath of the events on January 7th, 2021. There are plenty of videos here on YouTube and other streaming platforms that have done a great job. There is a 48 Hours episode featuring interviews with May's sister and brother-in-law. It explains the case very well. That's if you're not familiar. There's a link to it right here in the description. Larry Millete was born Lorenzo Millete in the Philippines on August 22nd, 1981, making him 39 years old at the time of the incident and 40 years old at the time of his arrest. By the time January 2021 came around, Larry and May had done quite well for themselves, from the outside looking in at least. The home he and May purchased in 2013 and were raising their family in was in the San Diego suburb of Chula Vista, California. The 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,700 square foot home is valued at roughly $1.4 million as of August 2024. They had a newer Toyota truck, a Toyota minivan for the family, and May's prized off-road Jeep. They also owned a Lexus SUV that ends up playing a disturbing part in all of this, as we'll explain in a bit. Larry was an optician at the Naval Medical Training Center in San Diego. May had transferred her job at the Southwest Regional Maintenance Center to the Naval Information Warfare Center, where she was a contract specialist with a fairly high security clearance. Alas, the marital bliss didn't last. At least one of them strayed from their marriage vows and wanted out. Most of Larry's youth was spent, ironically, in San Diego, California. When he was just a teen, something happened that caused Larry's parents to uproot the family and move across the ocean to Honolulu, Hawaii. More on that incident coming up next. In what was surely meant as a fresh start for Larry, he was enrolled at Admiral Arthur W. Radford High School in Honolulu. That's where he and a young Maya Tabalanza first met. Both were of Filipino heritage, and their shared traditions and upbringing no doubt helped them forge a strong connection. In 1999, Larry, like his father before him, joined the U.S. Navy. An interesting side note is that while Larry was in the military, he earned a pistol sharpshooter ribbon. It's no stretch to surmise that when faced with being stationed elsewhere, Larry knew that if they were married, the military would allow them to stay together. The young couple had a simple wedding by the ocean on May 21st, 2000 in Honolulu, Hawaii. In the spring of 1997, Larry was just shy of his 16th birthday and living with his parents in San Diego. He was known to be a member of a local gang. Naturally, police reports are sealed because the situation involved minors. This is what allegedly happened. On the evening of April 30th, 1997, a 17-year-old, supposedly from a rival gang, was leaving a drugstore in a strip mall behind the McDonald's on Paradise Valley Road in San Diego. A car quickly pulled up. Larry jumped out and stabbed the 17-year-old multiple times. He quickly jumped back into the car and the driver sped away. The 17-year-old was taken to the local emergency room and was listed in critical condition for some time. He ended up recovering from his stab wounds. Larry was identified and quickly arrested for the brutal stabbing, and he was booked into juvenile hall. It is not known publicly what happened after that. Considering everything we know now, it's easy to understand what prompted the abrupt move to Honolulu. You can never truly know what happens behind closed doors. For instance, we don't know how long May had been unhappy with her marriage. After 10 years without children and 10 years with children, she wanted out. It could very well be that over the years, May had seen the darker side of her husband. Maybe he kept getting darker. Someone had caught May's attention at work. Maybe this man gave her the attention she needed to give her the courage to finally leave Larry. From what we've discovered, Larry became suspicious as early as March 2020. Maybe he followed May or hacked into her phone. It could very well be that he simply felt a coldness from his wife that he wasn't used to. Hell, possibly all of the above. What is clear is that Larry began to psychologically unravel. Whatever happened or didn't happen to cause all that, it required Larry to be an adult. Sure, make every reasonable attempt to save your marriage, especially if there are minor children involved. But then there is the acceptance phase. Larry never got to that acceptance phase. There were his text messages to one or more people throughout 2020. May had moved into a spare bedroom in the house for some space. Clearly, she felt threatened by Larry and his behavior. No doubt, out of desperation, Larry began to sneak into the room May was sleeping in and strategically place a Bluetooth speaker so that May wouldn't see it. When he believed that she was asleep, he would play audio tracks from his phone that were meant to subliminally convince her to love her husband again. Yes, that's a real thing out there.
On Larry's phone, detectives say they found searches about how to subliminally train your wife how to make your wife perform oral sex.
Not to promote this behavior, but there are many videos here on YouTube that offer the same type of subliminal therapy, if you will. There are even videos that women voluntarily listen to hypnotherapy messages in order to be a happy bimbo trophy wife for their man. The video tells them to devote their life to the patriarchy. These are actual comments on the Happy Bimbo Trophy Wife video. When the subliminal stuff didn't work, or possibly in tandem with it, Larry began consulting not one, but 2 spellcasters, or witch doctors as they used to be called. When that one didn't work, Larry asked the spellcaster to place a spell on May that would, this is not made up, hurt her.
Before Maya went missing, Larry sent this message to a website that claims to cast spells. Please punish May and incapacitate her enough so she can't leave the house. It's time to take the gloves off.
That one failed as well. One of the many things discovered on Larry's phone by police was this photo of a spellcaster altar. Larry may have even thought that what he was doing was somehow noble or the right thing to do. In reality, it was dangerous delusion. Very dangerous. Remember when Larry earned a ribbon in the Navy for his sharpshooting skills? It turns out that he had a hobby during his marriage to May. His very own arsenal. What did he plan to do with it?
In homicide cases, there is often a triggering event. In this case, the last call recorded that May made was to a divorce attorney.
Every attempt Larry made to save his marriage and manipulate May had utterly failed.
Maya filled out this form and made an appointment with a divorce attorney.
I think she told him that she was going to file for divorce. He snapped when he found out that he was finally losing her.
Knowing that Maya had actually called a divorce attorney instead of a trial separation like she likely had told him was no doubt the catalyst. Larry had built things up to a psychological fever pitch. It wouldn't have taken much. As fearful of Larry as May already was, she could not have known just how far gone her husband of 20 years was. He probably angrily confronted her about the divorce. Emotions had been high for quite some time. She probably reacted in kind. We might never find out if Larry had a weapon on him when he confronted May or had one nearby. Larry's behavior next tells a horrible story, one that has him murdering his wife while their 3 children were in the home. Larry was very methodical. Clearly, he had thought the scenario through ahead of time. He moved quickly. He first sent his kids to play outside at 10:30 p.m. He then backed their Lexus SUV into the garage and closed the door. Wherever he took May's body, he no doubt left her cell phone with her. It has never been found. Neither has May. Larry Millete was arrested on October 19th, 2021. He remains in jail as of August 2024. After failed attempts to convince the court that Larry was not mentally competent to stand trial, Larry's murder trial is now scheduled to begin sometime in 2025. Just this week, the second week of August 2024, big news was announced on the Help Find Maya Facebook page. After 3 years of being in court purgatory, Maya's sister and brother-in-law have won custody of May's 3 children. Until now, the children have been living with Larry's parents. Technically, Maya Millete is still a missing person, but almost everyone has sadly come to realize what her fate actually was. If you or someone you know are in a bad situation, please call a local domestic violence organization. US and European phone numbers and links are in the description.